Hello, 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 hello. Good afternoon. My name is Ijewere. My business is AugmentResults. We are leadership consultancy, basically that helps you and your teams optimize your performance so that you can achieve better results. Thank you for joining me live. If you're here today, we're going to be talking about procrastination today. Essentially, I decided to start these Q&A Mondays to answer the questions some people in my community have around what they can do to either manage their emotions, continue to grow their businesses, to lead their teams in COVID-19 days. And it's real. People are really feeling the effects of this. Hold on. Good. Okay, great. So people are really feeling the effects of this. And it's very difficult to know what it is that you should be doing when. And so hopefully these Q&A Mondays are going to answer some of those questions. If you visit my website, www.augmentresults.com, in the events section, you'll find a whole schedule of talks that are going to happen between now and the 6th of July. And we'll be adding to those as we go through. Fantastic. Oh, I'm so sorry. Someone said that they can't hear me, and I'm hoping they can hear me now. Any better? Good. Yes. Great. Yes, so on my website, there's a lineup of all the speaking events that I'm going to be hosting and joining over the next couple of months. And there's lots of juicy stuff. I've chosen procrastination today, as I said, because I received some questions around procrastination. Earlier in the month, I sent out a survey to my community and asked, what can I help with? And this came back again and again. I just can't get myself up. I can't get myself doing. It feels like I'm not really sure what I should be doing, and so I don't do anything. Oh, I know what I should do. I just don't get around to doing it. It's difficult in COVID-19 not to have my rigid structure. I just don't feel motivated. I can't get myself going. So these are all the things that I've been hearing. We're going to be joined by a guest today in a little bit. From what I understand, she's currently driving. She might have to park on her way back from dropping off her kids at daycare. She's one of the key workers. She's based in the United States, in New York. And she's kindly offered or agreed to join early before jumping on some calls. So this is really great for us. Okay, Faye, hi. Can you hear me? I hate dead air. Oh, brilliant. Okay, good. I'm glad. So do you have any questions around procrastination? If you do, pop them in the box. And after we've had the conversation, then, we'll start, well, at least I'll try to answer your questions. Hi, Maria, how are you? I hope you're well. Brilliant. So any questions you have around procrastination would be great. One of my listeners just said that she knows, I know how she does. Yes, I do. Articulate what it is. What is the biggest challenge around procrastination? I just want to stop procrastinating. Okay, good. We're going to cover that. Yes, fantastic. Anything else you can think about? And it might not even just be procrastination. It might be something around maybe just feeling stuck. And if you are feeling stuck, what are you feeling stuck about? Or what do you think is holding you stuck? Oh, no worries, Maria. Maria's just said that she's going to have to watch the replay. Absolutely. Please go ahead. Watch the replay when you can. That's the whole point. It's difficult to schedule it when everyone can do it. This is a good time for me. Mondays are pretty light in terms of I do admin on Mondays, so this is a good time for me. Making decisions and consequences of not making the right decisions is what Faye says. Yep, good. We'll talk about that as well. I'm just waiting. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just waiting for my guest to text me and say she is available and she's parked on the side of the street. Okay. So essentially, let's actually start talking about what procrastination is. If I were to tell you that procrastination is not an issue around behavior, but it's an issue around your feelings and your emotions, would that make sense to you? I used to think that procrastination was all about, oh gosh, I'm too lazy to get that done, or I really just don't feel like it. That's an emotion, but feeling like it because I think, oh, it can wait. I'll wait till later. I'll just put that off. Oh, I don't need to do that now. And the more I've developed in my business, in my profession, and in what I do, which is around leadership and management development within corporations, I realized that procrastination is really about how you feel about the thing. It's really about where you are emotionally, how adept you are at managing your emotions around things. When we read about success leaders, we hear all the time that they get things done, that they're very effective, and they're very productive, and they take action. And what I've realized that type of behavior is a habit that's been learned. They don't do things they want to do or like to do. They do them because they have to do them. And they eliminate they eliminate the feelings that they have around a subject and operate really at a point where they are taking action because they know that the end goal is going to be what it needs to be, right? So managing emotions is really one of the most important aspects of minimizing procrastination. Let's take an example, for instance. I like to work under pressure personally. I find it makes my head just really very focused, clear, and I do the work in half the time that I normally would do. However, that's not the optimal place in which to operate, because even though I'm quite good at managing stress, we all have to be very conscious of the levels of stress that we put ourselves under, because there's a very fine line between, managing good levels of stress and going over that. What I've learned to do is make a plan well in advance of the time that I'm supposed to do something. What does that do? I just basically set triggers for myself that bug me more than procrastinating bugs me. So I will put reminders in my phone. I will tell people about what it is I need to accomplish. I will ask people to hold me to account. And I'll do that well in advance of when I have to do the thing, because I'm really good at delivering in very short notice. But that's not good. It's not the optimal way in which to operate. So I have to develop habits to get me in action, into motion, so that I can eliminate procrastination and actually start to take the steps I need to take to move to my outcome, to move towards my outcome. So the question is really, and please chuck in your questions. Those of you that have just joined, we're talking about procrastination today. I'm waiting for my guest, who is very, very, it's going to be a very interesting conversation, I think, anyway, because I find she's amazing. But, what kind of triggers can you start to put in place? If you notice that you procrastinate around a particular thing, okay, some people it's eating healthily, for instance, or it's paying bills, or it's I always say people that procrastinate with paying bills is because I can eliminate procrastination and actually start to take the steps I need to take to move to my outcome, to move towards my outcome. So the question is really, and please chuck in your questions. Those of you that have just joined, we're talking about procrastination today. I'm waiting for my guest, who is very, very, it's going to be a very interesting conversation, I think, anyway, because I find she's amazing. But, what kind of triggers can you start to put in place? if you notice that you procrastinate around a particular thing, okay, some people it's eating healthily, for instance, or it's paying bills, or it's I always say people that procrastinate with paying bills is because they know that they don't like to see cash leave. None of us likes to see cash leave. We love getting cash in, but we have to pay those bills. But each time we pay the bill, the feeling around paying the bill sometimes is, oh gosh, I can't afford this right now, and I wish I didn't have to. You have to pay your bills, don't you? So you manage that emotion of, oh, this is painful, and get over the pain and start to look at what it is that you are going to accomplish by doing this. Let's see. Is she ready? My guest. Sorry, guys. Okay, so are there any questions that we can talk about? If you put some questions in the comment box, at least I'll have stuff that we can work with until our guest is ready to join us. So let's see. So how does one stop procrastinating? Faye, so I think, hey, she's joined. Okay, Faye, stopping procrastination is really first and foremost about managing emotions, managing how you feel about the thing, and being aware about how you feel about the thing. Okay, great. So my guest is here, and I'm very mindful of her time, so I'm going to add her on. Go live. I will introduce her. Okay, she's coming. For full disclosure, hello. For full disclosure,
hi. Good morning. Well, it's morning my time.
It's morning.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just going to introduce you as briefly as I possibly can. It's kind of difficult. So,
Okay.
Full disclosure, Oyinda.
Sorry, can you see me well?
I can.
Okay.
Can you see yourself?
Yes.
So Oyinda is my sister-in-law. Her name is Oyinda Ijewere. And why I've asked her to come online today is because she and I have some very deep, meaningful conversations, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And Oyinda, I think, is one of the most impressive women I know. She basically, where's her profile? I couldn't even read her whole resume. It's just too long. But essentially, she is somebody that is used to operating in crisis. I say this because she worked for 5 years with Halliburton during the Iraq War, right?
Yes, I did.
Yep. And then right now she's also working at Cigna, which is one of the largest health insurance businesses out there in the States. She is a statistician and mathematician. She's got an MBA with a finance specialization from as many universities as we can rattle off. But she, most importantly, I think, manages my twin nieces, who are both 4 years old, and could test the herself. Whilst doing everything she has to do. So I think you're one of the best examples of really getting things done. And getting things done when things are challenging, right? So we're talking procrastination. How do we help people?
I think for me, whenever I procrastinate, it's the byproduct of fear. It's not really the inability to do something. It's more or less fear of, okay, will I succeed? Will I fail? And I was reading something yesterday, and it said something. Does the world really care if you, as one person, fails at whatever you attempt? It's kind of a get off your high horse type thing. We've all had. It's not really about you in the true sense of it. The world is not sitting around saying, "Oh, I'm looking to see if she's going to fail at what she tries next." Frankly speaking, the world will barely take notice even if you fail. If you succeed, a lot of people will take notice. For me, fear and procrastination go hand in hand because of a lot of past experiences. I could give a perfect example. Right now, the markets are doing what they do in a recession. I got burnt badly, like all my fingers got burnt off, for lack of better terminology, in 2008, 2009. And initially I was hesitant because the market started let's just say, dancing around about 3-4 weeks ago. So what I did was I keep putting it off. I put money in my trading account, but I kept putting it off. So what I started doing was I'd buy $100 worth of a certain stock. So I started very, very small. I'm still taking baby steps back into trading, literally, but I've gotten the first point started. Now, am I going to lose money? In some places, probably. But at the same time, I'm trying not to let that hold me back from actually rebuilding a portfolio that I think, I want to hold for the next couple of years at a minimum.
Absolutely. So see, I think that when I speak to people, that pivot point that causes problem between the procrastination and actually taking action. And I don't know whether we can articulate a little bit better what that leap is, So it's overcoming fear. It's almost like having a little bit of faith, isn't it? And it's almost like saying, to hell with it. I don't give a crap.
I think to a certain extent, you have to get to that point of, I don't give a crap. What if I fail, I fail. Because if not, you're going to get held back. Uzo has known many of my struggles. I would tag myself as being very overambitious. I am very overambitious because in addition to working full-time for Cigna, I do run a consultancy that probably takes about easily 20 to 30 hours a week. So I have these, grand plans where sometimes I'm able to accomplish everything I set out at the beginning of the week, and there are weeks where I'm just like, what the hell with it, I'm just going to go to bed. That proposal is going to develop itself in my brain while I'm sleeping false. But I'm still going to come back and do it, and I find myself winging it at the 23rd hour. Yes, I will produce the work, but procrastination will leave you to the 23rd hour where you're boxed into a corner and you're just like, you know what? Let me just get this thing done. I don't have a choice at this point. But what I find is the later I wait to do things, the harder it becomes to create structure, the harder it becomes to present my work the way that I want to present it, because my consulting business, I'm working for a lot of private clients. So I have to give an update. I have to give them a product, and that product has my name on it.
Exactly.
Unlike where I work in a team, where someone else may pick up your slack, but procrastination will kill you if you do a lot of independent consulting.
Great. So actually, what I'm hearing is also the need for courage, right?
Yes. Sorry, my lighting is bad. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, but I
was trying to fix it. So sorry for my morning face. I just finished dealing with her nieces.
I explained earlier that it's 8:30. You've got work in a minute, and so I'm grateful to just even have you. So let's.
Yes, and sorry for the quarantine look. I've been trying, but it's not really.
I made an effort.
It's not really working. It's not working out for me today. And I'm not a morning person, so.
Yeah, she's not, which is why I'm even more grateful to have you at 8:30 in the morning. But yes, I'm hearing a little bit about courage. So we've talked about the fact that I spoke about earlier before you joined that procrastination is really linked in with managing emotions. So you've pinpointed that your emotion that's attached to procrastination is fear. Other people, it might be a whole different thing. It could be some resentment. You don't feel you're the one that's supposed to do X, Y, Z. Right? Or my friend Stacy says you look so good.
Thank you.
So you might feel you're not the one. I've had lots of clients at organizations, and they go, they don't know why, but their manager or their MD just keeps dumping things on them. It's not their responsibility, and la 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 la, and then they have to do it. Of course, they push it back as far down the line as they can, but then it impacts them when it's not produced well. Because when it is responsibility or your responsibility, the buck stops with you, because you're the one that's asked to do take the action. And so, it's about working them out of that resentment or that reluctance because they feel it's not their responsibility. It might be, aside from, you've spoken about fear, I've spoken about reluctance. It could be actually, there's some, this is a lie. My attaching this feeling to this task or this set of actions is not actually a real thing. It has to do with something that's not attached to. So I'm going to break that pattern. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to shift myself so that I can shift out of just complacence mode and into a place where I'm taking action. And that's, I spoke about earlier, triggers, putting things in place that will force you to look at the thing and go, either annoy you. I put like alarms in my phone all the time, like constantly, knowing that I don't want to do that thing, but I'm eventually going to have to. So I'll put in an alarm starting 2 weeks before, and it just keeps coming. I'm like, oh crap, I'll just go and do it already. Enough.
I think part of it too is imposter syndrome with a lot of women.
Oh, we have a whole
we
show
feel like
coming up. Yeah.
We feel like we're not good enough, or we're not authorities in whatever it is we think we should be speaking about.
Yeah.
Because I've been having that conversation with a friend, and she's been doing the whole SEO marketing for, I think I spoke to you about her, for about 15, almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
And she still hesitates when I say, oh, maybe you should teach a class online, or maybe you should actually own a consulting firm on the side doing just, helping small businesses. Exactly. And she thinks like she's not an authority until she gets a PhD. And I'm like, not really,
no, Not really. But
I think,
women do actually think that they have to. For instance, a survey was done, I can't remember how many years ago by whom. It's when you basically, women would apply for jobs only when they meet 90% of the criteria for that job. And conversely, men would apply for the same job if they met 20% of the criteria. Inevitably, the guys would get the job.
I'll give you guys a story. So when I used to work for Halliburton, I thought about leaving, and I needed to edit my resume. So I did it on my own, and I never got any callbacks. So one time, a colleague of mine said he was getting like emails, requests for interviews, and I said, "Oh, can I see your resume?" We had the same job description. It was completely different from mine. Mine was very, very modest. It was extremely modest. And his was so over the top. Within the first week, I got an offer in Saudi Arabia. Sight unseen, interview undone, because they assumed I was male and I was competent.
Yeah.
It was after emailing the recruiter, I'm like, so when do we have an interview? I know Saudi Arabia doesn't give working visas to single women. And the guy says, oh, you're female. Sorry, we won't be taking this any further. But for me, that was like the big lesson learned, in the sense that half of the time, I think women, we need that bravado, so to speak. We need that bravado to be able to just say, you know what, I'm really, really good at this. I recently turned down consulting work because I felt like the person was trying to lowball me. And I said, look, doing the same strategy planning for what? Almost 20 years. You're not going to lowball me at a third of what I've given you. I'm not going to take the work. Exactly. Is he going to come back maybe in a few weeks because he can't get it better anywhere else? I don't know. But I simply just said, no, I'm not going to do it.
And actually, what I try and teach is that it doesn't even matter if they don't come back. Don't devalue yourself, because once you do that once, that's it. You basically
agree.
Yourself down. And
I agree with that.
You just drop your level, and then you become really resentful or annoyed about what it is you're offering for what you think you're getting back for it. I mean, my example of my eureka moment, I think the CV was your eureka moment where you thought, what the? My example is I was working at an oil and gas firm, and I was the head of comms. And I happened to be in the kitchen one day. I was just chatting with a guy, a colleague of mine, who was basically had the same level within the organization as me, but he was in a completely different department. He was an engineer and stuff. And he was like, I don't know, we were just shooting the breeze, talking, and somehow his salary just kind of plopped out of his mouth. I literally had to stop myself from dropping my mug. And I looked at him like, how the hell did you get that? I think he was earning 30 or 40 grand more than I was at the same
time. Oh, wow.
And I looked at him, and do you know what he said to me? He just looked at me and he smiled, and he shook his head and said, so you didn't ask. If you had asked, you would have gotten exactly the same salary.
I agree with that sentiment.
And I didn't ask. I really didn't ask. It was like, okay, let's not talk too much about this. Let's just get this job. Okay, great. Let's just do the job, do my work, prove myself, climb up that ladder. Hopefully I'll get there. That was so many decades ago.
You're going to end up playing catch up. At that point, your starting point is vastly the variance between you and him is too far apart.
Too far.
One thing that I love when people offer for phone interviews, I always take them, because what I do is I put my feet up on my desk when I negotiate. So it's like I've gotten a lot braver.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot braver.
I walk up and down. I stand up and I'm on the phone and I'm talking with my hand in my pocket. And I'm like this, like, yeah, no. And they're like, you are a very aggressive woman. And I'm like, I'm not aggressive. I'm confident. And I know my value. And that has taken time, though. So, I mean...
No, it does take years.
Yeah, there are going to be some young women that go, well, that's easy for you to say. Yeah. You know, I've been working 20 years. You've been working 60. So, it didn't come easily, but I hope that for our younger sisters that come behind us, it is going to be easier, because they'll have women saying to them, don't accept less than what you're worth. Yes. But then back to our procrastination, we could have like so many goals. Let's see, are there any questions?
Yes, Ravina had a question.
What did Ravina say? Ravina?
She says, why is it easier for men to negotiate than women?
I don't need to prove anything to anybody.
Along those lines.
Yeah, basically, it's a learned behavior. You know, we train up men from the time they're babies. Don't cry.
Yes.
Be very assertive. Make sure that you stand up for yourself. Play football. Be rough. Go for what you get. And then we basically don't do that with the girls. And the girls that are assertive are called bossy or bitchy.
Yes.
And so it's a learned behavior. It's the way we praise people. So the boys grow up with more confidence than girls do. Girls are praised for crossing their legs and looking pretty and smiling and just being furniture. And if you have an opinion, it becomes a big deal. My gosh, you're so mouthy. My gosh, you're so this. Oh my gosh. I mean, even me, I found myself saying that to my daughter today, because she was like, my girl is sharp, but she's about to turn 10, but the girl is like 27. It's hard.
Well, I have 2 threes going on 30.
Those two, I feel so sorry for
listening to Gary Vee or the anti-Gary Vee. We make it very contextual for ourselves.
I think Ijewere girls, they're very assertive, actually. I think it's just because all of us, the way we are, we are all very similar.
Working out, especially after a really severely sprained ankle.
Face, and actually many people make us ashamed of us.
Yes, I agree.
Exactly, I agree with that, and I think it's absolutely wrong, especially in society. I was watching something, sorry, I digress, but I was watching something, one of my brain dead TV, Real Housewives of Atlanta, and there's a lady on there called Ijewere. She used to be in some anyway.
She used to be an escape or something.
She's been escape, but she's very, 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 very well. But she always wants more wealth.
The way, I'm very fascinated by the conversation of work ethic,
recently. And there's some latest jump on. I go, if she was a guy providing for her family the way she everyone would be going on about, she doesn't want to spend time with her children. She doesn't want to spend time.
I agree.
And, so again, it's a learned behavior, isn't it?
Because I
think people overcome that challenge and become more confident. I think, Ravina, for me, certainly, I don't know about you, that the penny kind of dropped. I saw that, I knew I had by this time understood my value, right? And I had not really been very confident about what I had to offer. But then I was doing a good job, and I could see that I was doing a good job. So when I almost was insulted at the time that I was being undervalued, and that just really made me be very cognizant about what it is I do, what it is I do well, and communicate that. So for me, that's how I kind of move forward from that.
Of experience, and so it becomes much easier when you say, look, this is what I've done, this is what I'm capable of doing. It's up to you if you want it, if you want my services or not. Even from a work standpoint, when I negotiate, okay, when my kids are ill, can I take time off? Can I work from home? What are the negotiation points? And if it doesn't sit with me, I'm learning to just walk away from it. And because the moment you start accepting a fraction of what you believe that your value is, they will tell the next person who would tell the next person who would tell the next person, especially in consulting where my work is primarily through referrals. Exactly. So if I charge someone $1,000 for something I would normally charge $4,000 for, it would bite me for years to come. And then my whole viewpoint is I'm taking away time from my family to do this extra work. It has to be worth my while. I'm coming at this with XYZ number of years experience. It has to be really worth my while. So I don't feel bad.
We're not talking at all about things we do pro bono, gratis. That stuff you offer for free because you want to help someone or you want to do something that you feel is going to benefit, an organization or an individual. So that's different. But definitely I agree. I can see how the younger generation would go, well, I haven't got that experience. Ravina, I would say that's really about starting to, what is the word, to develop an understanding of what things you do well. So that's really taking note, being very self-aware. Okay, great. I now know how to do this thing well. So I can communicate that, and I can value that at face. Stuff I don't know how to do well. Then of course, gosh, I'm sure when you started, I did the same. When I started, I did stuff for free. Because I was learning. That was my that was me building my toolkit, developing my style, developing my own understanding of how things work. So, we're not saying go blagging about things. It's not fake confidence. It's confidence built on what it is you know that you do. So don't undervalue yourself. I don't know. Yes. We're going to have 100 of these talks because I don't know, we've gone from procrastination now to self-awareness, valuing yourself, pitching forward, but it's great, whatever. How do we get women to start becoming more confident?
Yeah, I think that was my favorite thing that you said.
Just sorry, quick question. Is that what you said? How do we get women to start becoming more confident? I think, I'm starting something soon. I'm very excited about it. And for me, it's almost like, the way I see it is like a lab where we invite women to almost come and break things on purpose. And do that in a safe space where they're happy to have egg on their face. Because then they go out into the real world and they do it with more confidence there. The only way to get women to be more confident is to have open conversations. But more of us exist, to actually have this sisterhood. I've been lucky. I've had kind of a sisterhood, mostly in latter days and in former days. I don't know what it was like for you working Halliburton. And did you have?
I've mostly worked in boys clubs, so to speak, all white boy clubs. But I've always found ways to make that work for me. Partly because I grew up with only brothers, so I always say this, always interact with the male gender from a point of a peer relationship. You will learn a lot in terms of, I'm not downplaying men, but women, we're so much more, we do so much better at multitasking and doing a lot more. A lot of men cannot do half of what you do. But when you learn and you sit with them, when you sit with them from a peer perspective, it becomes strategic in the sense that you're like, okay, so he doesn't know more than me, but he's sure in what he knows. That is it. I learned that through my years in Halliburton and through my years of self-consulting. And right now, ironically, at almost 16, 17 years, I finally found a female mentor in the workplace. So she actually champions my causes, because 2 months ago, I think I was getting ready to resign, and she said, no, don't do that. What do you want laid out on the table? Let me help you negotiate. She essentially sat down with me. We redid my resume for a certain role. And she told me, she said, go into the negotiations with this. And lo and behold, it's worked well for me. It's worked very well for me.
It's really sad because in my experience, I haven't had very many. When I was in-house, I didn't have one female mentor.
I think it depends on the industry you're in also.
Yeah,
because
very male-oriented, investment banking, finance, oil and gas. You know, the women just, I don't know, maybe they were just struggling to swim themselves and get ahead.
That's a big part of it, because I find that with children, we also, that confidence you built early in your career, when you start having children, it erodes somewhat, because you're juggling so many balls and you may not have the time to like rebuild it as quickly as you would like. And so for me, that's where she really,
the confidence. A lot of my clients that are coming back into work feel like they've missed out so much whilst they were away.
Yes.
They don't have, in Nigeria, you say you don't have the mouth to talk. You know?
Yes.
So they kind of like shy away because they just lack all confidence is eroded. They're not sure whether they have the right to speak up, to challenge, because they've been gone looking after babies. And that is the issue I have.
Yes, I have recently just surmounted that, and it was from talking to her where I'm like, look, I don't feel like I could juggle this many balls, in the sense that I'm confused. Like, I'm just at a loss. I feel like I'm running ragged. I feel like I'm just losing my mind. And she looked at me and she said, look, you need to sit down. Your children are most important to you. That's fine. Don't negotiate anything that puts them in jeopardy. That she taught me that, because in the past I'm like, why do I need to choose? She's like, it's okay for you to choose your kids. And she starts telling me her story. She used to be a VP and came back down to being an analyst when she had kids.
Wow.
So when I see that, I'm like, okay, yes, there's something there. So that nurtured that relationship for me, in the sense that I'm like, okay, I'm becoming more confident in the formal workplace, in that, okay, I know just as much as you do, if not more. I'm not going to sell myself short. Yes, I may have 2 kids crying in the background thanks to coronavirus. Now everyone's home. But at the same time, it doesn't impede my ability to do the same quality of work as my male colleagues, who I think, ironically, this time around, I was able to negotiate a better rate then.
Yeah, there you go. And I think that's because you got to that point of, I'm not going to compromise. Just to speak to Faye's question, she's saying basically how, the competition is real between women in the workplace, because they're trying to get ahead and get on the tables, and they feel they need to first assert themselves within the boys' club. And that is exactly that little thing that I have an issue with. I think that we should have a stronger girls' club. You think about these networks that really work, and the majority of them are male networks that have existed for hundreds of years, and basically they push things through. My brothers are always talking about their old boys clubs and their old boys clubs, and they actually tap into the networks to do business. We as girls, my experience has been this. I don't diss it. I love the connection and the community of women, but I have several girls clubs that I'm a member of. Old girls this and old this, from uni, from masters, from secondary school, and girl, none of us are talking about no business in those clubs.
We tend to talk about our families, our children, and I had that conversation with someone, with a very good friend, and I told her, I said, look, what we need to start figuring out is who gets in where, and how much support do we need to push to get people in places of position where we are able to influence ourselves, we're able to bring others in behind us. I said, it's almost like a mafia-style network.
Yes.
That is what men have done successfully. That is exactly what men have done successfully.
Exactly. And women are yet to understand that and click into that, because, as you say, we spend our time posting and forwarding about all sorts of social events, about things that happened, our kids, and all of that stuff. But, I did an inventory of my friends, just because I was putting these talks together, rather than reaching out to people I didn't know. I thought, okay, the women in my network, who are these women and what can they talk about? My God, it's such an amazingly freaking impressive network. We have partners at law firms, we have CEOs and country heads and, company secretaries and financial gurus and, people that run funds and people that really direct about, girl, I need help. Girl, I need to help my other people. How do we bring people in? Where's this contract? What are we going to do? How do we do it? Okay. But that's what the guys are doing, you know. I don't know how.
That's what men do. Men do it very well, but women, I'm not sure if it's because we're busy struggling or we're busy attempting to regularize other parts of our lives. But my own case, this particular person has reinforced for me that, you know, when you have another woman literally on your team, you as the younger female, you know what direction to go in. You know what direction to negotiate in.
Yeah.
You understand what it is that you're trying to do. Yeah. I think that's a big part of it. Hi, Lola. The person I was telling you that I made an example of, she's on.
I see. She's on.
Yeah, so I'm just. Yeah, I think women, I think that whole band, we need to understand that there's almost like a succession plan. Yeah. You find that we're often excluded from the things that matter simply because either the person ahead of us is not that she's not too concerned, but she has so many of her own issues that she's attempting to deal with. Yeah. And she's looking at it thinking, I don't really have time to mentor someone else. But what I say is if you have the chance, do it. If you're the mentee, if you see the opportunity, take it.
Take it.
You know, take it.
That's something I teach my clients. I go, you need to be a bit more direct about things. Identify people you'd like to mentor you and walk up to them. They don't have to be in your line management. They don't have to be in your team. They don't have to be in your business. They don't even have to be in your company. Find someone that you can have access to. Ask them, will you do this? All they'll say is no. And then you can move on. Faye, you're absolutely right that, yes, a lot of us do try to do it. But like you say, yeah, exactly.
I agree. I
agree. But then there has to come a time when we trust each other. There has to come a time when we move forward. So essentially, just kind of to kind of tie this back together, we started off talking about procrastination really being about attaching a painful feeling to an action. So that's what stops you. That's what keeps you procrastinating. You have to then shift your mindset, basically, and kind of break that emotional connection between the task and how you feel.
Yes.
Because that's what the great leaders do. It's not about how they feel, it's about what needs to get done. And the conversation we've been having for the last, 15 minutes is really about action, things to do. We've talked about the actions we've taken, isn't it? So, the whole point of wanting to push out of procrastination is to move into action. So do those actions, do stuff, start to connect with people, build your team. If you're crap at doing stuff, get someone else in your team to do it. So
yes.
that's an action. Delegate, so that the task gets done. Doesn't mean it has to get done by you, right? But you have to put that process in play. Okay, I'm really terrible at doing this. However, we have to deliver X, Y, Z. I know that Ravina is my assistant. So I know Ravina will get that done because I won't do it. Ravina, I need you to get this done. Okay, it's done. Do you see? But you have to take some action to push yourself out of procrastination. Any other practical things that they can do as well, just to round off? Because I know you're pressed.
For me, what I do is I write down everything. I have the craziest vision board. It's all Post-it notes. Uzo has seen it. It's as ridiculous as it seems. Even my husband keeps saying, I don't understand how. But it works. It works for me in the sense that my brain is multi-pronged. I like to see what I need to be doing. Yes, I don't always accomplish everything that I set out to do, but I always put a star next to the ones that I know will be difficult for me. If you know me, you know that I'm not a participant generally, social media. I'm an observer. So this is I think this is my first live session ever, and that's why Lala was saying I heard Oida is live. I never do live. I think I just figured out how to put music on my Instagram stories last week.
My assistant how to go live. I have no clue.
Yeah, when people are talking about TikTok and stuff, so I have aspects of my business that require marketing to a large extent, but I, for the most part, put them to the side because I've gotten enough work in recent times to just be able to say, okay, you know what, I'm doing okay. But then I also realized that comes from a fear of growing. and becoming too big. I'm like, will I be able to manage it? So one thing that I have taken the step to do is I have actually put out a full job description. I was even still hesitant to post it on any job website. So I sent it to like 4 people that I know, and I said, look, I'm looking for someone. This is the job description, which I sat and I wrote by myself. I got 45 or 50 applications. And then I'm like, okay, how am I going to do this? I don't have time to interview people, blah, 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 blah. That's also the fear of being, yes, it's the fear of building structure. It's also the fear of building structure. So what I did was I went back and I said, okay, how can I make this better? So I threw out a test to about 15 people that I thought would be suitable. And I started getting responses from all of them, and I panicked because I'm like, how is everyone writing this test? Like, I'm thinking some people would have dropped off and I don't have to do these interviews. I don't have to build this whole structure around this particular side of the business. But now I'm like, okay, we need to deal with this. This could actually be very beneficial for you if you get this first stage right. So what I do is I call Uzo. We talk through it. I look at my husband. Do you have 2 minutes? I need to ask you a bunch of questions. We talk through whatever it is. You know, sometimes I call like my brother and I'm like, look, I've got all these applications to read. I don't want to do it. Will you help me? And he may be like, okay, I'm free for 3 hours. I'll help you sort through it. You know, so I look at my network and I see, okay, who could help me accomplish what it is that I need done? There's a point where I don't know if I was paralyzed by fear or being overwhelmed from doing too much. Uzo and I would have like 2-hour sessions, and I'll dig through my brain and be like, all right, it's not because I don't know what I want to do, but maybe I actually have too much on my plate, or I'm piling on too much on my plate because I don't want to do certain other things. And that for me was it was an awakening moment where I said, all right, I need to stagger.
Because
I do like busy work.
Stops us from making those.
Yes, I do like busy work.
Yeah, and that's because we don't like to make decisions. I have to make a choice. Okay, so we'll just put that aside for now, and I'll do something else that doesn't require choice. Because
that is spot on.
And we can't.
That is spot on. That is spot on.
Get dropped for us to carry forward. That's important. Yeah,
that's very spot on. So even for me now, what I'm learning is, okay, stop procrastinating on building structures. So that way I can move on to other things that I think I want to do because I'm in a better position to delegate. So the fear of, okay, what if I fail? What if I succeed? I'm getting to the point where with certain issues, I'm like, to hell with it. What's the absolute worst? I'll fall on my face and I'll, figure out how to get back up. So that's where I'm at now with that. And I'm also looking to see what my triggers are. And the ones that I can't avoid, I face them. And the ones that I could just tell myself, look, you just need to get past it, I do. The ones that I can't work around, I call someone that I trust and I try to talk through it. Like sometimes I call my mom and I'm just like, I'm exhausted. And she's like, have you done this? Have you done that? Have you thought about this? So sometimes that's what works.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what it is that everyone has a different solution, and so it's really, like you said, exploring that. What we do when we have our sessions is really me just helping you explore what you know already, isn't it? So
yes, the irony is you're not really learning anything new, but I think sometimes we also want that reaffirmation to steer us in the direction that we think we need to go, but are too hesitant or too scared to say we need to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So procrastination, really, it's about taking. We eliminate procrastination by managing our emotions. Identify the thing that is holding you back around the issue, and then find a way to manage the emotion. Help yourself be better equipped. If it's fear, how do you manage your fear? If it's it's reticence or reluctance or what's that other word I was saying earlier, where you feel that it's not your responsibility, you're a bit annoyed that it's been lumped on you. Working around those things, so getting out of the emotions into the practical, shifting your mindset around how these emotions are attached to the task. Then it's about taking action. And people hear the word action, and I think they kind of shy away from it, Oyinda, because it sounds like a big thing to do. And action really is one step, So with my take towards accomplishing a big goal, So like I had a client once, and she this was around, she's a lawyer, we were working on issues for law, but this is the thing that was a problem with her. She wanted to get fit. She didn't feel healthy. So, okay, great. So what do you want to do? Oh, I want to be going to the gym 4 days a week, yada, yada, yada. What's the mini goal? The mini goal is to wake up in the morning and leave my house at 7 o'clock. That's the mini goal. And she didn't get to the gym the first week. She just left her house at 7 in the morning. Then she started leaving her house in her tracksuit and walking to work. And then she started running to work. And then she started running to work and then going to the gym at work. It started with the mini goal of just leave home. Just have everything done. Know who's going to take the girls to school. Know who's doing what. And be out of the house at 7 in the morning. That's it.
Yes.
So we start with a little thing. That's how we overcome procrastination. We start with a little mini goal and take one step. But you must be in motion. It's momentum. Yeah? Anything else we can add for our audience before we sign off?
No, I think that's it. I think it's just overcoming procrastination is fear. It's really not anything else for most people.
Yeah.
And I think just telling yourself it's going to be okay either way.
Yep.
If you don't do it, it's not going to get done and you'll never know. And if you do it, you will know if you were good at it, if you weren't good at it, if you're willing to give it a shot again, based off of, a self-audit. That's kind of how I started seeing things.
Brilliant. Okay, I want to thank you, our ex-Halliburton.
You're welcome.
I know that used to get picked up in helicopters with flak jackets and helmets. I get flown around the Middle East, dropping off money. and now she's working for Cigna in COVID-19.
Thank you. We're doing COVID-19 budgets now. So
I can imagine. So I that would actually be very interesting. But maybe people that are in the States, less so. A lot of people are worried about their finances and how things are working, how to manage and kind of carry through in this whole crazy time. But there's solutions. And there's opportunities. I think definitely. You said about how your business is growing even now. The consultancy.
The irony is, I've had when people say, "Oh, how are you feeling?" In these times. And I said, look, I haven't had that much time to actually sit and think. So, like, for me, even what I do is if I think a situation is going to overwhelm me, working from home, you can have the TV on all day. But what I do is I turn it on for an hour and then just to see who is shut down, who is making what policies, and then I move on. But literally, I always have my 2 laptops open during the course of the day. And by the time it's time for bed, what I do is I read. I started trying to read more, so I don't even get to the TV point where people, where people are peddling theories, peddling God knows what. Yeah. I don't really have the time or the patience because I'm like, anxiety is not going to do me any good at this point.
Yeah. There's a question from Aries 14. Yes, you'll have access to this once it ends. I think
okay, good.
Sit in my it's going to sit somewhere.
Well, Aries 14, I don't know anything about these things. This is my first ever live. I promise I'll show up better next time, and I'll try. Like, my hair is I call them Corona twists. Don't ask.
But anyway, so thank you so much for all those who tuned in. These are going to happen every Monday around about this time. I posted on my website, www.augmentresults.com/events. Lineup of activities and events are going to happen. Thank you, Faye. It's going to be on for 24 hours, apparently. Thank you. It's going on my website. You'll see a lineup of all the events that are going to happen until the 6th of July. Next week, I have a friend of mine who has managed huge teams over many years, and they love her. All her teams, whether they work for her now or not, they love her. So we're going to be talking about building and managing teams in COVID-19 times. And that's for you if you're an entrepreneur and you work alone, or it's for you whether you're in a corporate environment and you have no direct reports or you have huge line management responsibility. It's really about thinking about your people performance in these times where you need to delegate, you need to build trust, and you need to empower people to actually take action so that we keep moving forward whilst we wait this thing out. Oina, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
I know it was really hard for you to juggle me this morning, dropping the kids off at daycare, running back to the house.
We got you in. We got you in.
You see, this is it. You're just so great. Just getting
Faye wants to take me on a mini social media course. I'm an epic failure when when it comes to even TikTok. I don't understand what people are TikToking. When I saw the "Don't Rush Me" challenge, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I tell you,
this morning to say to her, "Faye, how do I get on Instagram Live?" Honestly, I could just see her looking at the phone like, huh? I was like, I don't know where to go. Where do I put? Yeah, that's my family. We're like this all of us. we're not social media types, but we're trying. We're gonna get better, aren't we?
I'm trying. I'm really trying. I'm sorry. I was just responding to one of my team members. Yeah. I'm really trying, but I don't know that I'll ever get it right. And I come to accept that, I'm an observer of social media. Like, it took me a while to learn how to do stories even, and I'm just like, wait, how do you... I had to ask, I think it was Lola's sister, I had to ask her, I said, how do you guys put... No. The games that people are playing now with the "Have you been here? Where was the last place you traveled to?" I'm like, can you send it to me? So she sends it. I'm like, how do I fill this thing out? She's like, you just put it up, put it in your stories, and then you type over it. I'm like, oh, now I got it. And I'm like, how do you add music to your post? And she's like, this is what you do. I'm like, oh, okay.
It's like, what? We should actually book that in so that way that I can book someone. Do this social media because Ravina, man, she's had it with me. She's just like, oh God, I don't even know. So
no, I have a tripod and everything, but I'm literally holding my phone, and I'm like, wait, where's my tripod? Didn't I buy a tripod at some point?
I'm way better than you. I've got my mic here. I've got my tripod.
No,
I'm good.
No,
the only thing I haven't got is lighting. I can't be bothered. But thank you so much for everyone that joined, and thank you, Ayinda, for your time.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It was a great conversation.
Next week at 1 p.m. on Monday for my conversation on building and managing teams. It's going to be really very interesting. Like I said, the lady I'm speaking with is the Chief Compliance Officer of one of the biggest banks in Africa, and it's going to be illuminating, because she's very funny as well. She's very personable. She's a real person. But okay, great.
It's good to see real people.
It is. We talk about all these aspiring to all these stars. You know what? There's stars amongst all of us. And so if we look hard enough, we can see who in our network we ask for help, who in our network we tap into, who in our network can guide us, can mentor us, can collaborate with us. And that's really what we need to be doing in COVID-19. People feel so isolated, and you're not alone. There's help. You just need to open your mouth and ask for it. That's it.
I agree.
Alrighty.
All right.
Take care. I don't even know
how to
end this live. That's my question.
I think we just